Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Miss Personal Finance, where we discuss everything about finances. I have different series on my page, including an animated series for teens and young adults, but this video will be part of my advanced budgeting methods series, and today we'll be talking all about sinking funds. Sinking funds have definitely been a game changer in my financial journey and budgeting. When I first started my debt payoff journey or my financial journey, I subscribed to Dave Ramsey, where he talks about starting your mini or starter emergency fund at $1,000 and then jump right into gazelle intense debt payoff. But what I've realized over the years of using strictly Dave Ramsey is that life comes at you and Murphy's Law always applies. So if you're spending every single dime that you have, all of your extra money towards paying off debt, then you're not focusing on your savings or your sinking funds. Then when an emergency comes up, you're more likely, if that $1,000 is not enough, to go back into either credit card debt or some type of debt to help cover that expense. Now, the sinking fund or a sinking fund is a savings account for a particular item or bill or subscription that you know will occur in the future, whether you know the exact date or the exact amount. The whole point is that you know that it's coming. So instead of diverting all of your additional funds to debt payoff, you would use those funds to actually fund a sinking account or a sinking fund to allow you to be prepared for the inevitable. And some examples of sinking funds would be a people who celebrate Christmas. So a Christmas sinking fund. You know, every year in December, there will be expenses, probably even starting in November around the Christmas holiday. Things like your car insurance. I like to pay everything and anything that I can in advance, and most car insurance companies provide a discount or an additional discount for paying in advance, like that 6-month policy all up front. Other things that are inevitable, but you don't have an exact date or an amount would be a car maintenance fund or a house maintenance fund. You know you're going to need an oil change. What if you need to replace your brakes or tires? You don't know when exactly that will occur, but you know that will occur sometime in the future. So instead of scrambling and looking for additional funds when that emergency or when that, I don't think it's emergency because you know it's coming, when that event occurs, you already have some money or all of it set aside so that you can use it and not disturb your budget, not have to go into additional debt, not have to move so many things around in your weekly or monthly budget to accommodate it because you've already prepared. So it's a way of being proactive. I put it under my advanced budgeting method series because it does require a certain level of discipline. It requires a certain level of forethought and actually going through your budget, anticipating things that come out or are due on a quarterly or annually basis, especially those one time a year things like, for example, paying Amazon Prime in full. Some of those things creep up on you don't remember, or you didn't remember to save for them when they come around. But if they come around every year, then I do think that's a good example of what one of your sinking funds should be. Now, sinking funds can be either digital or cash. I know a lot of budgeters use the cash stuffing method, but personally, I use a high yield savings account, so my savings are all digital. The reason I do this is because instead of allowing my money to sit idly in a cash envelope or in a cash envelope binder at home or wherever you choose to keep that, I would rather it be earning interest no matter how low or high in a high yield saving account, it actually gives you more than the average savings bank account. And right now, I use Ally, which gives me a little over 4.4% right now. So I'll be sharing my current sinking funds and how I utilize my high yield savings account to organize them and keep track of them. So, like I said before, I do use Ally. There are several high yield savings accounts. I personally like Ally because it allows me to split my savings into one account or several different accounts, but all into one savings account, but just different buckets. I know I haven't used them, but I know SoFi has something very similar. Similar, I believe they call it vaults. But either way, instead of just putting a whole lump sum of, let's say, $2,000 in a high yield savings account, it allows you to break that $2,000 up and assign it different duties. So, for example, 100 of that will go towards your Amazon Prime renewal, or $300 of that will go towards your car maintenance fund, so on and so forth. So, it allows you to break it up and have different specific sinking funds. Some people have only a handful, like 3 to 5 sinking funds that they kind of just use general buckets. And some people, like myself, get pretty specific and have several. With your Ally bank account, you can have up to 30 sinking funds for each savings account. So I do think that's great. So I'm able to break everything up by due date, by time of the year, and the amount, and go from there. So if you take a look at my screen, you'll see that I have several sinking funds. And like I said, the max is 30 per account. So if you need more than that, you can actually just open up an additional high yield savings account, but that may not be necessary for everyone. Now, the good thing about Ally, it allows you to set goals, target dates, target amounts, and it has this little tracker so that you can keep track of where you are. It usually alerts you when you're about a quarter, halfway, and 100% to your goal. So to give you an example here, this is the beginning of the year. So a lot of our sinking funds are currently empty right now. So we do try to go in chronological order by due date. As you can see, some of them have target dates and some of them do not. Like for the ones that are recurring, like repairs or maintenance or things like that, we don't have a specific date. We just know we just want a certain amount in there, and then we just keep on replenishing it as it goes. So I'm gonna show an example of a bucket. So this is our Costco bucket. So we pay for our annual Costco subscription. So it allows you to edit the bucket category, the name, and then your goal. So I believe our Costco renewal is at 120 or 118. I'm not sure. I like to round up just in case because of inflation and things change or tend to increase year over year. So we have a target amount of $120, and the target date is, I always make it the first day of the month that is due. So our Costco renews in August, so I have the target date as August 1st. So that way I have the money in there prior and can pretty much pay them at the beginning of the month, where I pay all of our bills from our monthly budget because we are 1 month ahead, and I just prefer to pay everything all at once up front. So I have the entire year. So from the time I fully fund this account or fund it at all to the time of the target date where I'm going to transfer those funds or use it to pay the amount, it is accruing interest. So this is one of the only times where you're getting interest off of a company instead of them making or earning interest off of you. So this is a great way to save and earn additional income, albeit it might be very small amounts, but over time, as your emergency fund grows, as your sinking funds grow all together, you will see that you do earn a little bit of interest every month, and it does add up and accumulate throughout the year. So after you update your target amount and target dates, you can set your goal. If you, again, don't have an exact date that you want to have the money saved by, you just kind of want to have it as a recurring or just a sinking fund that's just always there, you can just remove the target date and just leave the target amount. So another thing is I realize that some people, for example, if you have $300 to go into your sinking funds for that, let's say for that paycheck. I know some people like to split it up and they put $5 here, $10 here, 50 here, 100 there. I like to pretty much go in order and fully fund that next target sinking fund. So I kind of use it like a debt snowball, but like a savings snowball. So if I'm fully funded with this one, I just move on to the next one by date. I do try to maybe save a smaller percentage for the recurring ones, like your maintenance, your car repair, things like that. Again, those that don't have a specific date. But overall, in general, I do like to go in order. So sometimes you just have a random or just not a recurring bill, so that you'll have maybe just that one target date and then you won't have it anymore. So you can delete these buckets altogether. You can update them. You can remove them, or you can, like I said, be more specific and add additional buckets. So they're specific to a holiday or a certain person's birthday, so anything like that. So like I mentioned before, sinking funds have really changed the way me and my household, how we budget. So we have for example, ongoing travel fund. So when things come up, we can purchase tickets or gas if we're traveling via car. Any of your subscriptions or all of our subscriptions, again, anything that we can pay in advance or all at once. I don't like monthly expenses adding up and kind of altering our monthly budget. So anything that we can pay in advance, that's what we do. And we just use the sinking funds to save money and earn a little bit of interest throughout the year until that item is due. So setting up an account is super easy. Just like any bank account, they'll ask for your information. You'll sign up, and then when you first open your high yield savings account, this all will be blank, and then you can just click on add another and you can start creating your buckets. So it says I have 6 more, so that probably means I have about 24 buckets already. And then they'll give you a little tutorial here about learning about buckets if you haven't done it. But these are the main categories. If you don't find a category that is specific to the item that you're trying to save for, then you can just click on the make your own, and it'll have this little piggy bank, and then you can name it whatever you want. This next button is the distribute button. So what happens is every time you transfer funds or put funds into your high yield savings account, it goes into this core savings account. So this core savings bucket is exactly that. It's just a savings account or bucket that holds on to all the money that's not assigned. So once you're ready to assign it, you can go to distribute and you assign it from one bucket to another. So that's how you move money around in your buckets. So you can choose multiple buckets if you have like all this money that you want to distribute, or you can just choose 2 buckets if you just want to move it from, for example, your core savings to one of your specified sinking funds. So you'll have that same amount or that total amount in your entire savings account, but the buckets allow you to distribute them how you please. In settings, you're also able to control how the money comes in and how the money goes out. So for example, and also how the interest is paid. So for example, we'll start off with interest. Every month, I just want it paid into the core bucket so that I can figure out how I want to distribute those funds. How money comes in, again, I like mine to come directly to the core savings account, and that allows me to distribute the funds once I am once I've decided where they would go. They also have how the money goes out. So typically the core savings will be the default, and then it starts going to other sinking accounts for that amount. So if you, for example, if you don't have enough money to pull out from the core savings, it will go in this order. And start taking funds out of those accounts. So it's always good to have that second account, like a sitting account, like a emergency fund or something that you can pull out and not mess up the goal that you have set. And you can change the order by updating settings and just moving these around to show where you want it in order. So okay, so like I said, I am a digital budgeter. So even for my variable funds, or my what people would consider cash envelope, I also use my Ally spending account, and they give you a debit card. And again, you can put buckets and choose how you want that money to come out. So I have a separate one for our groceries and household, for miscellaneous, for personal. And whenever I swipe my card, you can have Ally complete automatically directed to the bucket, or again, it can sit in like a holding, and then you can reassign it to the bucket that you want once the transaction has cleared, once it has posted. So this allows me to still stay within the budget, still allocate certain amounts for each category on a monthly basis. I know some people do it bi-weekly or per paycheck, but I allocate everything on a monthly basis, and I have that set amount just as if I were using cash. So if I don't have it in my debit card, I don't use it. So same as cash, the same or similar to using cash envelopes or cash stuffing, I just stuff my high yield savings account, earn a little bit of interest, and still reach my same financial goals. So wherever you are in your budgeting journey, if you've already made it past the basics, the foundations, whether that's a paper or digital budget, whether that is cashless or digital, I would strongly recommend opening up a high yield savings account, even if you don't use it for your saving funds, sinking funds, maybe just for an emergency fund, or maybe your reserves or something like that. So money that you're not going to be using constantly, where it can sit, earn some interest, and always be there growing for you in the background and available when you need it. So I have a discount code in the, or a promotional code in the description. This will allow you to earn some money for opening up an Ally account if you use my referral link. So I'll leave that in the description. But that is all for this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them about either sinking funds in general, or specifically this Ally sinking funds with the buckets. And if you'd like to follow along on our journey, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And remember, whatever you put your focus to, you're bound to see progress. So until next time, bye.